Today we get to speak with Manuel Gerold, co-founder and COO of askEarth. askEarth is a search engine that offers the public an easy-to-use tool to access unique information from Earth observation images. Welcome, Manuel. Hi there, and welcome to the Future Makers podcast by MAND. This is where we talk to people from scientific and high-tech organizations with a purpose. I'm Angina Herman, and Aveli Idavain is hiding under the hood to make sure everything runs. Today we get to speak with Manuel Gerold, co-founder and COO of askEarth. Welcome, Manuel.
Hello, Angina. Thank you very much for having me. I'm very excited to this talk.
So tell us, Manuel, why does askEarth exist?
So, askEarth is here because data is beautiful and data is complex and it's really hard to access for everybody. But data is also super powerful. And at askEarth, our objective, our mission is to empower everybody on the planet through data. And we found that satellite data is the most exciting thing to start with. And that's where we're working on currently.
What makes it so exciting?
It's the objectivity of it. You can compare anything around the globe with just one click using the satellite information. A forest in Brazil looks the same as a forest in Europe if you cut it down. You can compare how much change is there really in such simple manner as googling your questions that you're used to. So it's really so powerful that we said as a team we need to tackle this. We need to be on there, and we need to make this data more accessible because there's just petabytes out there and nobody's using it because nobody knows how. And this is something we aim to change very soon.
So what are the use cases? What do you think people are going to want to do with this data? Or is it not even something you want to decide?
So our main objective is to create awareness. It's about educating people, and it's about also getting everybody on the same page. If you want to make a point about climate change, about infrastructure projects, about natural catastrophes, you can use our tool to show your opinion and to really, also bring your feelings across with a visualization of what's happening. And you don't have to go there. You don't have to bring a friend over to the other side of the planet to show that glaciers are melting not only in Europe, but also in the US, Canada, everywhere around the globe. And this is something where we would really like to bring this global view into our everyday lives.
So what's the business case for you? Are users going to pay a monthly fee, or how is this going to how do you make money out of a company like this?
This is a tough question, and with a very clear motivation to empower everybody. We don't want to ask for money for just exploring. So we will have this tool open for everybody at any time, and everybody can hop onto our website and see how beautiful the data is and use it for their means. If there's some need to have more computational power, to have some premium features like masking certain areas, change detection, all of these things that come on top, this is something where we offer subscriptions to our users, and we hope to empower them then in their private life to just look into their curiosity, but also on the professional side. So if you're working in a smaller, mid-sized, or even large company, you might be interested in what's going on your operations or on your partner's operations, and just double check if the things are really going down as they're communicated. Or you don't want to travel somewhere, but you still want to have an overview of how the crops are doing on the different side of the globe, or if there is an infrastructure project that is progressing as you expect it to be. You can hop onto our website, have an image every 2 to 4 days, and see for yourself if the progress is as you expect, or if the effect is as you expect. And this is something where we offer a tool for everybody. And I loved, Angina, how you said before, do you want to not even decide what people do for it? We just want to empower. And this is the really powerful thing of our tool. We don't take opinions. We just give a tool.
Do you already have some customers in mind, or certain target groups that you are talking to, or is it still all in the open?
So at the moment, we are exploring different fields, and we have run an accelerator program before. Part of our team, we run the Space to Earth Accelerator Swiss program with international participation, and we explored there a lot of different verticals, and we saw that there is a lot of interest on the agricultural field, on the insurance vertical. Then it's about real estate, of course. This is another sector that is very interested in using satellite data. And then finally, we have also the logistics companies, commodity traders that need to know when to bring their goods where in the most optimal way to have most efficient operations and don't have a lot of overhead costs. So this is the verticals we're looking into at the moment. And then there's of course also government applications where you can monitor, for example, the forests in your country and see if the deforestation or reforestation works as you expected according to the regulations. So also there we can be a tool to give insights on top of that. And the most powerful thing at our solution is that you don't have to be a data scientist to get all of this information out of it. So this is where we believe we make a big difference, because usually data scientists are rather rare. They change companies quite often, and if somebody changes a company, you need to train another person. And with our tool, there's no training, basically no training needed, and everybody can use it. So even if you have a little bit of fluctuation in your company, you just hop onto askEarth and you can work with it yourself. So this is the main unique selling point that we offer for companies.
You mentioned about data being inaccessible. Can you tell a bit more about this? In which sense is it inaccessible? Is there just too much? Is it not all centralized with different types of satellite data? How is it inaccessible?
That's a very good question. So the data today is hardly accessible because you need to be trained in using the data. So there's every satellite image is just ones and zeros basically coming down, and this is how you can access it today. And there is a lot of post processing to be made until you have an image, and this is where our backend comes in and does all of this work for you. So we have a very good pipeline in rendering the images so that they look actually very beautiful compared to maybe other providers. So this is already one part where we're quite proud of what we've managed to come up with in the past months and years. And the other thing is, yes, the data is itself is already hard to access, but it's also a vast amount of data that is out there. And it's not easy to select the right thing that you want to look at. And this is where we currently have developed a website, our beta version, where you can click through it. You answer the question what, when, and where, and then you know what's happening at a certain time at a certain location. So you can check out, for example, the wildfires in Canada that are happening these days. Hop onto our platform, see what the impact is, why New York City is now grayed out because of the smoke. This is something you can do already today. And the next step will be that we integrate artificial intelligence, so large language models, that help you even easier find these spots, because currently you still need to know where are these wildfires happening exactly to find the spot, to look for it. And in, I think, 3 to 6 months from now, you will be able to hop on ask.earth, type in the question, where is the latest wildfire happening in Canada? And it will directly fly you there and show you a time lapse of what's happened. And this is where we work towards in the coming months.
So is this your own AI you're building, or are you using something already existing out there, your language model?
So we will not train our own large language model in the near future. There's a few out there, and we are staying open to using any of them. So our backend is really developed that we can use Microsoft's, Google's, anything that might be even developed in Europe, which could be a good factor for certain customers. And we are currently staying open, and we see in which direction it goes. And the value we add is that large language models are trained on a lot of existing data. We're on the top layer of it, so the outermost layer, and we make the large language model interact with our backend. So it will not dream up anything, any information, but it will just prompt our backend and say, this person is looking for a nice island near Hawaii. And then it will ask our backend, give me a nice island with no clouds and beautiful lighting. And then our backend will give back this beautiful island. And this is the only interaction we have with the large language model. So for us, artificial intelligence is as a translator between human language and computer language, and again back. This is the way we are using it, and we're planning to use it in the near future.
Okay, so when you say you're open to different models, does it mean that your final product could use multiple other customers could use which large language model to use, or are you gonna select one that's gonna be then given for everyone?
In the current state, we offer different options. So we're training everything on one model at the moment because we need to choose one. We don't have all of the resources to do it multiple times at the same time. But if the requirements don't align for the customers, we're happy to look into other large language model providers and then plug our solution into this one. So this is something that is, of course, a very early software development decision to take, to say, do we go with one specifically or are we staying open? And we choose the little bit harder way to stay flexible and to see in which direction the customer needs will also develop, because different large language models have different strengths and weaknesses, and we need to stay agnostic, at least at this stage where it's very young and still evolving, to say, okay, if something is not going into the direction where we can benefit the most, we need to be able to change still. And this is where we're working towards.
So I'm curious because, I mean, I guess the general public, including us communications people, really started to use and understand what AI could be only like at the end of last year or something, maybe mid-year when this visual generative AIs came. But you guys have been working on your product for longer than that, I presume. So was it a stroke of luck that you now have suddenly these large language models available everywhere? Or what was your original idea to make this work?
We got quite lucky, I have to agree there. We started more than 2 years ago at the Swiss Space Center with this idea. It formed there, and then we started building it up over the last 1.5 to 2 years. And we, from the beginning, we knew that the natural language processing interface, how we called it back then and how it's still part of the large language models is called, this is something we knew we need to develop, and this is something we knew will take a lot of resources financially and in terms of people working on the product. And we were a little bit worried how quickly we can make it happen, because this is a core thing of for us. If you want to bring a lot of data to the public, the interface is the crucial part. Everything else, the data is there, the post-processing we can do, but the interface is the crucial part. And we knew that this is, at some point, once we have the proof of concept that we can do the post-processing, it's going to be the interface that we need to validate with our users. And we knew that this is the key element. And we anyways decided to go for it because we also saw that there's a lot of expertise within Switzerland and Europe on the topic of natural language processing. And then I think 5 months ago, 6-7 months ago, the large language models started popping up on everybody's LinkedIn feed and social media, and it really became a big fuss around it. And we were sitting there and we were really happy to see that this got so much traction. And even the development that happened afterwards, from, for example, GPT-3 to GPT-4, there is a lot of more capabilities coming in just within a few months. And this is something that helps us a lot in accessing the data even more intuitively. So we're very happy to see this progress. And I think we're quite on top of what the current state of technology is. And I'm very happy that we can stay there. And I hope we can also continue understanding this as well as we do today, and that we can really leverage the power of what is out there, that we don't need to do it ourselves, but really have a really unique application for it. And this is something I'm personally very excited about, that we can really make this
One thing that I'm curious about, I don't understand enough about satellite data, so I'm not in the habit of looking up satellite data, probably because it's too difficult until now. But where does it even come from? What is all this data? Who provides this data? And is it really just accessible, or like, what is this all about? Where do you get it?
So the satellite data that is out there is stored somewhere from different providers. And what we are using at the moment is the satellite data provided by the Copernicus program. The Copernicus program is a European Commission program where ESA put most of the work in. And actually, I'm not sure if it's still true today, but until a few months or years ago, ESA was the biggest provider of satellite data. The European Space Agency gathered the most amount of satellite data per day. And this data is accessible to computer scientists today. So everybody who knows their way around computers can access this data, and you need to translate these ones and zeros into something useful in the end. And this is where we start. So this is the data we access today. That's petabytes of data, so an unbelievable amount. And we need to process this very quickly. And we process everything on demand. So if you go to our website and you select an image of, for example, Zurich, where I'm in today, it will be processed just in time. So we don't have anything running in the back. We don't have anything stored somewhere. We call the data set, we process it, and we give it to you. And this is something that nobody else does in the way that we do, at least what we found so far. So this is the publicly available data. And this data covers the planet every 2 to 4 days. And then there's other data sets, private constellation, that are coming up even more and more these days. You probably have heard of Maxa or Planet Labs that provide all of these also natural disaster images for emergency responses, for example. So you get an image for the earthquake in Turkey and Syria, or now the dam that collapsed in Ukraine, or wildfires around the globe. So they have very specific images. They have a higher resolution in terms of spatial resolution. So they have a very crisp image, but they cannot cover the globe every day or every 2 days. So this is a little bit the limitation of the private constellation. If you know exactly what you're looking for and you need high resolution, you go for the private ones, you pay a little bit of money, and then you have an image every few days of this very specific spot. And what we are offering today is you get an image of anywhere on the globe every 2 to 4 days with a little bit of lower resolution, but very quickly as you like it. So this is a little bit what's out there on the data landscape.
So I'm curious, what does it actually mean when it's publicly available? Like, I imagine there are areas on Earth that are not something people are supposed to look at, like, I don't know, military zones and so on. Like, how is that dealt with? Is it automatically removed from the data, or can you get into trouble for sharing openly something that some government wants to keep very secret?
So there is certain areas that should not be looked at, that for sure. But there is also not so many regulations at the moment. So all the data that is accessible to data scientists covers the whole globe. So you don't have any restrictions today, as far as I'm aware of. But it depends on the resolution you're using. So with the ESA resolution, we use 10 meter per pixel, which means that you cannot see a car. You can see big ships, but you cannot see a car. So you cannot spy on people with this kind of data. You can understand bigger developments, and I think this is also where the regulations will head towards. So there will be a spatial resolution limit of what you can show and what you can't show. And this is something that still needs to evolve. There is a lot of discussions going on at the moment, but it's an international issue, and international issues usually take a little bit more time to find a common ground. So yes, the data we are using, you can have a look at everything around the globe, but as soon as it gets a little bit more higher resolution, this might be an issue.
Yeah, because that was my I don't know, dystopic scenario of getting such exact resolution that you can do facial recognition, and then you can type in, where is Manuel right now on Earth, and then I find you tanning on
This
some
is
nice
something
beach.
to be considered. Yes, so you don't want to do like this kind of spyware where you can follow anybody around the globe. I think this is something that can be dealt with very nicely, also using software limits. I think we had it also with Google Street View, right, where people first wanted to have their houses blurred out because nobody wanted to see or show where they live, and now it's honestly a little bit the other way around. If your house is not shown on Google Street View, you're a little bit maybe not feeling too nice about it. So this is also, I think this is a also a social thing that we need to adapt to once we are there, and of course have the regulations in place earlier so that nothing bad can happen. But today we don't have the power to follow somebody around the globe with a satellite, and will take a few years until we could do that maybe.
Mhm. So what's the stance of askEarth on this? Like, are you preparing for this regulation, or do you have ethical discussions within the team on how far you're willing to go, or is this a topic at all? Are you still mostly working on the technical issues and the finding the financiers?
So for us, this is a very crucial thing, and this is something we're thinking about almost on a day-to-day basis. I mean, empowering people with information can be good and can be used also in the exact opposite. And currently, we're in the phase of identifying potential risks because we believe we're still quite far away from really having a potential negative impact with what we are providing. But we're identifying scenarios where it could be relevant, and we will define actions based on that once we see the relevance coming up more and more. And yeah, we're very concerned about this as a team itself. We want to make sure that this is not going to be used as an infringement for yeah, individuals. So the tool is here to educate, to inform, to empower. It's not here to spy on people.
So what are some early examples, early experiences? Have you received positive feedback from your beta testers?
So we've tested it with a few target groups that we found could be the most interested in this kind of tools, and we started with curious minds. So young people from the age of 18 to around 30, who we showed what we were doing, and we just let them play around. And I think some very encouraging feedback was, I just got a message from somebody I never met saying, I just spent an hour on your tool and it was super fun. It flew by. It's a very playful way to interact with the globe. And I think this fun aspect of it came through all of these target groups. So this is one thing. The second group that we investigated is journalists, because they have the use case. They need to validate the information they get through other sources, and one source can be satellite data. And there we already had the chance to publish something with a newspaper in the area of Zurich, and this was already quite a success for us because we can show that there is relevance. And also now we are continuing this road because we believe, yes, if there is a tool where journalists can just hop in and play around with what we've managed to do and verify their stories, perfect. This is something we're super happy about, and we already got quite some interest around this topic. And the final group that we're looking into is also the specialists that are developing tools for certain verticals that are, for example, giving insights into agriculture developments for farmers. They have maybe drones that they fly over the fields, but they also want to add a layer of satellite images because maybe the fields are too big or it's too expensive to fly drones every day. And then they want to implement what we have into their dashboard, and then our front end will become a part of their solution. And this is the last group of people we've met in the past weeks who are quite excited into using our intuitive front end for their needs, because we are very quick in processing this. And this is the last feedback we got from the technology experts we're working with. They're very impressed by what we came up with, how we process this data within seconds, which usually takes hours and needs to actually be pre-processed to have a nice user experience. So 4 things: we're fun, we're relevant, we have a good interface, and we're very quick. And this is something that we got out of the out of the feedback from the past 2 months. So we have the beta running now for 2 months. Yes.
That's really cool. I wanted to share something because when I started looking into your background and what askEarth does, I remember I worked as a science communication specialist at my alma mater. And one of the stories that I got to break was when a group of scientists counted all the world's lakes. And they used satellite data, and they found out that there's 3 times less than was previously thought because the lakes have disappeared and also the estimation was wrong. So I presume that this with askEarth would actually be an easier process than it was for them to just one by one go meter by meter and count all the 117 million lakes.
I think this is a beautiful way to look at things. Satellite data is exactly here for these type of investigations, and askEarth today allows you to check out the lakes, have a look at it, and in I think 2 or 3 months we have the statistics running, and then you can find how much water is there on the globe, in like be it fresh water for the lakes or be it salt water for the oceans. And I think counting the lakes is then another step that we can add on top very quickly. But this is something where we still need to implement a segmentation tool. So this is a very good way to go, and I think this is very aligned with our vision. Today we can show you the lakes.
Excellent.
So what's going on with askEarth? Where are you as a company right now?
So askEarth was in the hatching phase for the past 2 years, and in January we founded the company. So we are now incubated at the ESA Business Incubator at ETH, and we are running a fellow program with the University of Zurich. And this is how all got started. And now the past 6 months we were working on our MVP to really showcase what we want to do. And in end of March, we successfully launched the beta version, and now for 2 months we're in this exciting phase of going to everybody, say like, look what we have, what do you think? And this is really, really cool spot to be in at the moment. So on the technology side, we are where we want to be, and now we need to ramp up our business development side. So we've been already looking into potential ways to go. Is it public funding? Is it venture capital funding? How do we acquire the first customers? All of these strategic decisions we've been looking into for the past half a year, and now we are in a good spot to acquire the first 1 or 2 customers. So we're in discussion there, and we hope to close these negotiations soon. And on the funding side, we see that there's a lot of potential still on the public side, and we're already starting the first discussion with venture capitals to see when we are in the good spot to start the first round of fundraising, basically. And this is a little bit of back and forth with what do we have, where do we think we will be in a certain amount of time, so that everybody gets the best deal out of it. And we want to show that we're really on the right track. And the investors, of course, want to know, are these people capable of doing what they say they're going to do? And this is something where now with the MVP, we're in a very nice spot. And with the first customers coming in the next couple of months, we will be ready for some serious improvement in efficiency, in resource management, and then also scaling the company very quickly. So today we're ready to start scaling, and now we put the framework together to get there.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank
You
you.
are we means 4 guys, I suppose. So that's what I saw on your website, that there's
Yes,
4
exactly.
colleagues.
We're 4 co-founders. We met. I met Gaetan, our chief strategy officer, at the Swiss Space Center where we worked together. We then continued on a company he founded, Space for Impact, for the past 1.5 years. And now we launched askEarth together. We onboarded Simon very early in the process, after 1 or 2 months talking about it, because Simon is our CTO. He knows everything about the tech. He built this beautiful backend that returns the information very, very quickly. And then we onboarded Dave, our final piece of the founder team, who is in charge of the user experience. of our platform, and he does everything. If you hop on our website, this is what Dave did. Everything you see. So we're quite for me, a very unique team. I knew Simon already from studies. We built rockets together, sounding rockets. And with Gaetan worked as well. And I'm very glad that Simon introduced us to Dave. And now we're very unique and curious, but also very efficient team in working together. And just coming from the office today, I'm happy to have the chance to work with these people.
So I noticed that none of you has the CEO title. What's that about? Is this an equality thing that none of you is above the others, or?
It's a lot of trust. So we have we started the company and we talked about this a lot, how we want to structure it, and we see that everybody of us has certain expertise and we trust each other in every decision that belongs to one of the categories. So if there's a technological decision, Simon will have the last say. If there's something on the operations side, how to manage the team or where we go as a group, this is more my task then. And then on the strategy, Gaetan has a lot of experience there, and he will tell us where to go. And finally, Dave on the design, if he's owning his product, and we trust him fully there. So we don't see a real need of a CEO at the moment, although it could be something that we look into in the next couple of months, to also have a little bit the communication aligned. Everybody needs to know who to talk to, and the CEO could be also one person to just approach. So this is something that's works for us at the moment, but we're also flexible and happy to change this format as soon as it becomes relevant.
Tell me a bit about your own background. So how did you end up working in this field in general? So you worked in the field of space, or you graduated from ETH, was that right?
Yes, exactly. So originally I'm from Austria, and I came to Zurich to study because yes, it's I think ETH has a very nice sound to it, because anything is possible here. It's not about the education per se, which is also good, but there's a lot of possibilities around it, and I was really glad to have the chance to come here. And this is where all of the interest for what I'm doing today sparked. So first, I started engineering, mechanical engineering. I built aircraft seats, so it was more aerospace than space. We did this as a project at ETH, and I had a lot of fun and a lot of hands-on work. Then I joined an aircraft manufacturer here in Switzerland for a 1-year internship, where it was all about advanced manufacturing technologies and very hands-on stuff again, because mechanical engineering should be something you work on. I could learn a lot, but then everything went a little bit more into the space direction. So I joined the Student Space Association, ARIS, which was founded just a year before. We built a sounding rocket with a team of 30. We went to New Mexico. We launched a rocket at the competition. And this is where my fascination for space really came into play, because space is not about economy. It's about really passion. And this is something I've never seen before. Everything else is about how can I be more efficient? How can I make the most revenue? How can I be somehow cutting costs at any spots? And space is different. In space, it's about how can I do this most unbelievable thing in the quickest time. And this is a passion that everybody shares in the space domain. And this is something I wanted to be a part of. And so we started building sounding rockets. And then at some point I saw it's cool to have these rockets fly away and explore the universe and all of these things, but you can actually use space for something really relevant for the society. And that's where I jumped into also the Swiss Space Center, and we already started talking about this project of there's satellites out there, Earth observation. This is a very cool spot to be in, because you can really make a difference on Earth. If you fly to Mars, nobody today will be impacted by it, but if you have satellite images helping with your emergency response or giving a little bit a better understanding on climate change, this is something that will have an effect today, and if not today, at least for within a few years. And this is something where I then kind of jumped off the hands-on work and went into the a little bit more data sciencey and software world. And this is a place where I'm today very happy in, because I think this is something where we can make a difference. And I'm quite positive that even with what we made until today, we've made this very tiny step into making the world a little bit maybe a better, for sure, a different place. And this is something I'm today already quite proud of.
This is a perfect moment for me to ask my last question, but before I do that, I want to check if Ave has anything else you want to ask.
At the moment, no. I'm just inspired by the last answer. It was so nice. Thank you.
Excellent. All right, then I'll jump to the last question. 10 years from now, what will the world look like?
This is a very hard to answer question, but it's a question that also we as a team think of almost every day. And this is something where I'm really curious to hear other opinions, because everybody thinks something differently. And this is, I'm really excited to see what's gonna happen. And for me, it's gonna be this, the way we interact with data is going to change drastically, not even in the next 10 years, but more, probably in the next year or two. Everything is going to be different. The education system will change, because people are starting to teach themselves now. Maybe teachers will have a complete different way of, or different mission to train our children, for example, because today they need to tell them how to write essays and all of these things. Tomorrow, maybe the AI does it, and you only need to tell them how to put the right query and how to check if it's the correct answer. And this is a big shift that I see. There hasn't been much change in the education for a long time now. And I think ChatGPT and all of the developments around large language model and artificial intelligence will have an impact there. And I see it personally. As a hobby, I'm tutoring kids in math and in gymnasium. And what I see there is, if I don't answer them quickly enough, if they have a question on WhatsApp or wherever, they will go on ChatGPT and ask. And what I find is they get the answers they need, because they're really good at putting the queries together already today, with them having it for 3 months. So I see a big change there, and I'm really excited to see what this means for us as a social community, because it will change. And I think in 10 years from now, there will be less of the tedious work to do, like writing emails, scheduling, agendas, all of these things. This will be quite nicely automated, and we will have fun and time to do other things that we are really excited about. So I think from today on 10 years, we will have a very nicely balanced world where we can work on the things we're excited about even more than today.
I like that future.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks a lot.
Very, very nice.
All right. Thanks a lot for being on this podcast, Manuel. That was Manuel Gerold from askEarth. It was a pleasure having you here.
It was an honor to be here. Thank you, Angina. Thank you, Ave.
If you like hearing stories from people who make the world a better place through science and technology, you're in luck, because there's more. So make sure to subscribe to the Future Makers podcast, for example, on Spotify. Until next time.